these practices in order for us, to make sure that they're not hacked in a basic level. Now, of course, just to declare some stuff, this workshop is not to teach you about how to hack stuff, nor to teach you about how to develop web applications. It's about teaching you on how things work behind the scenes, and how some basic exploitation works, and how to build a secure web application. What are some basic practices? So the workshop content flow is going to be as follows. We're going to just talk about prerequisites. We're going to talk about who am I, and then we're going to talk about web app mechanics. We're not going to pretty much talk about a lot of stuff. We're going to download Burp Suite, and we're going to work with google.com. We're going to tinker some requests to understand actually how the behind the scenes in the browser, what things happen and how they work. And then we're going to take an overview of the bugs, of what are the basic bugs of the most popular ones nowadays, and how they're exploited actually. And we're going to get our hands dirty with with the labs. We're going to exploit some vulnerabilities on a lab I hosted. I'll be sharing the link once we start exploiting the lab. And then we're going to fix these vulnerabilities, and then try to exploit them again and make sure they're not exploitable on the server that I'm hosting the code on. And then we're going to have some QA and some career advice into how actually to get into this web security field, and how to develop your skills into such field. Okay, so we're going to have just a short who am I. I'm Abdelrahman Tameem. I'm just a second-year cybersecurity engineer student, and at Abu Dhabi University. I'm interested in some basic malware analysis. I love web security. I pretty much love anything related to computers, mathematics, and philosophy. You could find me on LinkedIn. My name is Abdelrahman Tameem, and yeah, that's who am I. Let's move on to what are the prerequisites. Actually, the prerequisites is to use computers. That's all you need. That's all you need. You don't need some technical experience. We're just getting started from the very basic and from the zero. We're going to explain some basic requests, and we're going to explain the methodology of a client and server, and we're going to go along with each other, inshallah, and everything. Okay, so what about the exploitation? So the exploitation is going to be as following. We're going to explain some basic vulnerabilities, the most popular ones. These are the ones I've chose because these are the ones I'm most experienced at. There is actually much more vulnerabilities out there, but these ones are the most the easiest one to understand for you guys, and the simplest ones to be explained by me. So let's get into the first. First, let's get into a client-server model. So Mr. Kitten wants to get into google.com. So what happens is that he sends a request to google.com. Sorry, the arrows are they're reflected. So he sends a request to the server. So if the server authorizes him to visit the website, the server replies him back to his computer on his browser. Hey, yeah, you could actually access the website. But actually, behind the scenes, this is how it looks like. I know this will seem over intimidating, but I promise this is very simple. So when Mr. Kitten sends a request, we call this a GET request. So there are some codes for requests, right? And we're going to see this in a while in Burp Suite. So he sends a GET request for the document he wants, and usually, they're index.html. If you have developed any website before, you would know that. And the protocol or the style of the request we're going to sending using the software, which is HTTP 101. We don't need that. We just care pretty much about the first maybe the 2 lines or the 3 lines. This is the type of request that your browser sends. So when you go to Google Chrome and you look up for google.com or like youtube.com, this is how the request looks like. After that, when their server is, the handshake is done and he made sure your device and everything is well, he will respond back with a code of 200. Now we're going to see also the codes. These codes, we're going to see them in the workshop and the lab. And he sends, all the sort of information, including the information that you asked for, which is the code for the page. And your browser takes this code and preview this code as visual. So something I want to show you here is if we all go to the browser and we look up for google.com. Okay. Now, if we go to if we did Control Shift I, okay, or if we go to the right click and click Inspect, and then we go to the where's that? Yeah, if we go to the network model, or you know what? Let's go to example.com. It's much more simple here, okay? Because there's a lot of requests going on in here. Okay, So if we refresh the page, just go ahead and open and refresh the page here. As you see, there is a request for example.com. Okay. And if you see here, we could see the headers. Now, the browser here in the inspecting or developer tools is designing it for you, for you to read it better. Okay. Now, of course, 304 means it doesn't need to be modified, or it's already there because I've visited the website before. And so this is, as you see, the header. We got something called the request header, which contains the information that is essential to send requests to the websites. First thing, we got the get method. So in order for me to actually get information from the server, I would send a get method. But if I'm logging into the server, I'm sending a post request because I am the one who's sending information, not the server. I'm sending my password and username for the server to inspect it, okay? But if I'm going to visit a website that doesn't require any post method, which I'm not sending any data, I'm just requesting data, I would use the get method, okay? Now, for the response here, this is what the server sent me back, which is apparently the code, okay? Now, this code right here in front of you, the browser takes this code and translates this into, this. Do you see this white square? Do you see this text? Do you see this link? Yeah, the browser takes that and translates it into a web page that you could view it and use it easier. Okay, and this is how the request system works. Okay, do you guys hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. So first we're going to download Burp Suite so that we could start at the labs. So I will share with you the link to the labs I have hosted. Let me just get the download button to Burp Suite. Okay, Community Edition. Cool. So let me just make sure it's good. Okay, I'll send the link to download Burp Suite on your device. If you don't know how, if you did not find it on Google, here's the download link. And this is the link to the labs that we're going to hack using Burp Suite, which is the second link. Okay. Just inform me, guys, if the link, the second one is working with you very well. Just if it works for you, just react to it, please. Okay, cool. It seems it takes time because the hosting of the server is pretty slow. So, okay. So I will launch up Burp Suite so that we could see what I'm talking about practically. Okay. We're gonna install. So once you install Burp Suite, it will you will launch it and it will just click next, start Burp, and it will start it for you. Okay. So you're gonna go once you open up Burp Suite. So everyone just react to the link if Burp Suite worked for you. Let's just wait for you guys to install it. It could take time. Okay. I think so. Is it being recorded? Yumna, is it?
Yes, I started the recording from the beginning. You can still follow. He didn't do much. So just click on the link, download Burp Suite, and you're all set.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, everyone. Shall we start? Okay. Okay, yeah, sure. Take your time. Sure. Just download it and make sure it works. Okay, cool. So I hope everyone downloaded it. Okay, so Burp Suite is basically a tool. Okay. If you're facing an issue, please type. Okay, if anybody is facing any problem, just tell me in the chat. Okay, so Burp Suite is basically a framework that is used by hackers or bug bounty hunters, to be more precise, and it's generally for testing web security vulnerabilities, or maybe manipulating web requests and hacking websites generally. Now, it's not just for hacking websites; it's for viewing them, it's for editing them, it's for manipulating them at a wider level. So when you open up Burp Suite and you go to the proxy tab at the top left, it will open for you this tab, okay? And you will see a open browsers button. So you're gonna click this, okay? You're gonna click open browser, and it will have a built-in browser in it, so that everything you visit and you do on this browser is recorded on the Burp Suite, which you could inspect the traffic using it, okay? And you could manipulate the traffic also. Okay, so let's go to the website that I've sent on the chat inside the Burp Suite browser. Sorry, it's the wrong link. Here we go. And we have a couple of labs in here. Okay, I've built a couple of labs. We have many vulnerabilities. If you want to look them later after the workshop, it's up to you. But we're going to explain these labs in a basic format. We're not going to get much more deeper into those. But inshallah, if we had the chance, we could make more videos, more workshops in the future, inshallah, for the same topic. Okay, so I want to go back to these slides that we had, and then I want to talk about SQL injection. So the first one and the most popular one and the most known one, and probably most of you have heard it, is SQL injection. Now, when you go and try to log in on a website, you will send a request to the server, okay, which is the API server, or basically the website that is what do you mean by that? Is how do I open a new file, like saving it or start? I don't get it. What's the question exactly? I don't get the question. You mean on Burp Suite, or you don't need to save anything actually? No, you just download the Burp Suite, okay, and just like click Launch Browser. That's it. There's no extension. Just click Open Browser. I believe this is the only thing you should download in this workshop. Yeah. Okay. If you have any further questions, just tell me, please. Okay. So going back to SQL injection, it's basically about injecting code into yeah, exactly. Just gonna click on the proxy tab at the top, which will show you proxy is basically where interception between the traffic, okay, is an interception between the server and the client, okay. Okay, yeah, exactly, this one. Yep, exactly. Okay, so for SQL injection, it's pretty simple. Some websites does not protect for SQL injection, does not protect sanitize input. So you as a developer and you as a cybersecurity engineer should make sure that the website does have a sanitization against input validation. So sanitization against the user input, which is called input validation. We call it in security, we call it input validation. Now, why is this important? Because an attacker could send, now we're gonna see this practically now, but an attacker can send inside the login, he could bypass the login, and he could trick the server, and then the server will send the request to the database. Now, once the database sees anything malicious, it doesn't care, okay? It doesn't have any checks on that, so it will just execute it. And once it is executed on the database, it will just be sent out, and nothing will check if this is, oh yeah, it's sending 100 password, it's sending 1,000,000 password. It doesn't care. It's just sending data out to the user. Okay, so we must just cut off the head of the snake from the beginning and just apply sanitization on the input. We should apply input validation for each user that is trying to log in. Okay. Okay. Now let's go to Burp Suite and open a browser here. And I will open up the browser of the Burp Suite, and we will go to the labs. Okay, so we'll click on SQL injection. Okay, cool. So as you see here, there's pretty much a few labs in here. So we're gonna go to the first one. Okay, this will take you to a login page. Now imagine you're trying to log into this page, and this will, you're trying to bypass something, but of course ethically you're trying to test its security, and you build a website, and you want to make sure if the website is, it's fine. It's, it can't be hacked, right? Through the login specifically. Now, if you just look at the top in here, at the top of the login page, you could see the button called source code. You're just gonna click on that, and it will pop up a window. It will pop up a window for you for, like a lot of code. Okay, I know this seems overwhelming. I promise you this is very, very simple. Just once I explain it, it will be very simple. So as we see in here, there's a lot of code in here. And if you do a lot of web security, if you do a lot of web development, you would tell, oh yeah, this is CSS. You would tell this, yeah, this is HTML. It's pretty simple. But on the top, we care about the code, right? This piece of code, okay? And specifically this line right here, okay? Now, if you studied programming, or if you studied, web development specifically, you would tell, yeah, this is not a secure practice, okay? Or you would at least tell that this is taking the inputs of the username and the password. Let me explain this to you. Okay, so we have an if statement in here, okay? So if I send a request, a post request with the username, okay, which is, let me show you the, okay, it doesn't open. The username, okay, and the username field, I typed in a username and a password. So the code will store it, or the server that we said earlier, right here, let me show you. So this server right here in the middle will store these credentials as user and password, okay, which is PWD, and it's just short, and we call it as in a post request. We send it because, as we said earlier, we send a request to the server, right? So, and then it will combine both of these into an SQL statement. If you have worked with web also before, you would know what SQL and SQL language. SQL is a language that is used for databases, to manage the databases in a logical way. And if you're, if you're a second year or third year in college, I'm sure you have stumbled through this language. It's just a programming language that is used on databases only. Similarly, PHP is also used on servers. So there's a lot of programming languages that is used on, all sort of servers. And for databases, we use SQL language. So if we looked at this statement in here, we could see that it's just literally taking what the user have inputted, and then it's just sending it to the server, and that's wrong. We should not do this, because whenever you input, so let me show you here. We will apply this practically. So you're going to go back to your Burp Suite, okay? Let's go back. Let's just close the tab in here, okay? And let's go to the login page of the Burp Suite, the Burp Suite of the browser, okay? We're going to type in admin, okay? We're going to just attempt to log in if there's something works. We're going to type in admin, and we're going to type in a password of like, let's say 123, okay? System login. Apparently this doesn't work, and it just got us back to the login page. So let me go to my notes in here and make sure, yeah, here it is. So as we inspected before, inside the vulnerable code, we have this code right here. Okay, so we got the statement that is stored apparently, and it stores it as user, and it takes it from the input of the username that the user or the attacker have input, and then it says and the password that the attacker have put. Okay, so it doesn't check if this is secure or not. Okay, so what is the exploit? How could the attacker exploit this? Okay, so the attacker could exploit this by typing this payload inside the password field. Now, we know that this password field is going to go to the database, right? And the database doesn't have any checks on that. We did not apply any checks, so the database won't even apply any checks on that. So, as if we know that this is not, there's no checks, we could apply this vulnerability. So if we convert both of them to this statement in here, if you could look here, let me just delete this if we don't need this, and also from the end. Okay, so as you see in here, it's sending a query to the database that, hey, this is the username. Let's imagine I did not type anything in the username, okay? Or let's just imagine I typed admin, okay, as we did earlier, and I told him, okay, I told the user, there seems a mistake in here. So you're basically just closing the tag from here, okay? You're closing everything from the tag. So any questions in here? Okay. Cool. You're closing the tag from here, like exactly as the payload. You're closing the username, and then you're saying directly without the password, you're directly saying or 1 equals 1. Okay, what does this mean? So if you studied or statements and statements before, it's basically or is where if this is true or this is true, anything after that is not true, or like don't care about anything after that. Okay, so if we had an or statement, this entire thing will be canceled as true, will be subjected as true. So once we have just matched the first true statement, okay, the entire thing, the rest of the code that once we match something true, the rest of the code is going to be just ignored, right? So that's how the payload works. So let's go back, just take the payload. I will send the payload in the chat so that everyone, you could copy it and then just paste it into the login. So let's go back to the login of the Burp Suite, okay? And let's type in the username. Let's type in admin, and then let's paste in the payload, okay? I want you all to try this with yourself, and tell me if this is actually logged you in or not. We don't have the password, but we're gonna attempt to log in without the password, using logic, using SQL, and exploiting the input, the non-input validation that is not applied on the server. Okay? Yeah, it actually logged you in, and it got you inside the user. Okay, so you could do all sort of stuff with further on. So once you actually got into the username with using this payload, you could do all sort of stuff. You could exploit, for instance, you could blackmail him with his information. You could edit some stuff, or you could edit the password. You don't need to use the payload over again, so that maybe in the future maybe the server will be fixed, right? Maybe developers would be like, oh, this is a vulnerability had been exploited. So the admins would be like, let's fix it. So the exploit won't no longer work anymore. So what would you need to do is change a password or create your own password. Depends on the service you're logging in, right? So this is we have been finished with the first vulnerability. Please, if anybody have any problem with understanding the vulnerability, just tell me in the chat. I'm more than glad to explain it. If anybody just have any problem with understanding, so that we could proceed to the next one. Nobody? Okay. Cool. So we finished with SQL injection, one of the most popular vulnerabilities on the web. Okay. Can you explain more about SQL injection? I think this is a pretty much basic form of SQL injection, and do you want me to do the other labs, or because we have we have other vulnerabilities we want to work on, and because there are sort of some more. I mean, no, it's fine. I mean, I could explain if you wanted to. Yeah, sure. Okay, I'll do this after we finish all the labs. It's totally fine. But basically, SQL injection is just you're trying to inject malicious code into the parameters that you're using to log in, and then you're just trying to bypass the server that is before the database. So you're trying to bypass this guy in the middle. Once you bypass him, nothing stops you from getting information from the database. Now, SQL injection is not just limited to just passwords and usernames. Basically, it's if you understood web technologies in a deeper aspect, you could understand it in a better way, that you will realize it's not just password or usernames. It could be also inside links, right? So let me show you also on the labs. Just maybe you could be questioning about this. Let me show you another one. I think this is the one. I'm not sure. Okay, cool. So also if like we typed 1, 2, 3 in here, search. So basically all of this information, what do you think is it stored? It's actually stored on the database. So I don't want to go really deep into this and make it really technical, but this is just an introduction into how exploitation works, how hackers think. The main aim is not to teach you how to hack, not to teach you how to develop. It's just some basic formulas into how you get your stuff and get yourself ready, and to web security, for instance, and developing secure web applications. So if you click search, okay, we will save nothing. But if you look up in the URL, we will see a parameter. Okay, this is called a parameter, and this is called a payload. Okay. Now, of course, whenever we're searching about stuff on websites, all of this stuff is not stored on the server, which is the guy in the middle, okay? Okay, it's stored in the database because the database is the big guy who stores all this massive information, passwords, emails, usernames, phone numbers, maybe pictures. We have all sort of stuff that is stored in there. And this guy in the middle, it doesn't, you know, sometimes it doesn't even need to be a server. It could be a single file, okay? It could be just a single file. As we saw in here in the lab, let me show you. Did we open the code? Did we open the code here? Just so it could be, if you go to login and source code, this is, do you see this code right here? Yeah, this is the guy in the middle. This is just the guy in the middle. There's nothing, you know, the database could be also, the database could be stored on the same server. The you know, the code could be in the same server also, and the front end could be at the same server. Basically, the front end is the code. You know, this is the front end where it shows you, right? This front end, the empty blanks and the buttons and all of sort of, you know, colors and pictures. This is the front end, and then we got the back end where stuff is stored. Okay, I'm sorry guys, there's no visuals here. I wish I could have prepared some visuals. Okay, let me just find something in here for you guys. It could be much more clear. There's a lot of complex stuff in here. Web is really fun. Web, if you actually got into it as a software engineer, or you know, as a cybersecurity engineer and a web security or like app security professional, it will profit you a lot. Okay, let's just look at this guy here. Okay, this one is more of an extended. Okay, this one is more of an extended version. If you could look at this, it's the same one. So you are on your computer on the browser, and then you send to the web server. The web server is basically what exposes the back end to the internet. Okay, it's like the guy in the middle, sitting in the middle. Hey, I want to go to this website, and this is where we usually apply sanitization. It could be here or here, just depending on how you program the website. But usually the sanitization should be in this. You know, the cleaning for the checking for the password and the username. Okay. It's usually in here, okay? So, inshallah, I'll answer later more, but for now, let's just proceed to more vulnerabilities. Okay, let's go to the next one. I think this is the next one. Is it XSS? Okay, this one is, I'm sure you guys heard about this one before. This one is really fun. Okay, so imagine yourself as an attacker, okay? And I send you a link, okay? Now, of course, the link should be, you know, the website of the link should be vulnerable to XSS, okay? So I'm exploiting this vulnerability of this website, okay? So I'm sending it to somebody. So this person clicks on the link, okay? And the browser on their computer executes this code that you injected into the link, okay? Now, XSS could be really dangerous sometimes. Why? Well, because if you can execute code on a link, just using a link, and once they visit the link, okay, and you know, maybe you could just let them visit somewhere on the website, and this place on the website is not secured well, okay. I'm being so generalistic right now. There's much more details into this, but I'm just giving you a big overview. So once they click on the link, the code of JavaScript will be executed on the browser. Now, I want you to know that something. JavaScript is an executed language. Similarly, PHP. So there's a difference between executed languages and you know, you know, compiled languages and languages and, you know, scripting languages. PHP, JavaScript, C, C++, these are all executed and compiled languages, okay? They do execute using memory and binaries, okay? But HTML and CSS are not programming languages. So if somebody told you, I know how to program in HTML, that's not a skill, actually. It's just, they're scripting languages, and they're only limited to browsers. JavaScript could be, on the other hand, could be used for more wider frameworks like Electron, you know, much wider things like Bun, things like Dino. You know, these are frameworks for JavaScript to build web applications, to build desktop applications, to build mobile applications. So it's much more executed in you know, in a wider accessibility format, like on Android, Windows, and Mac, and all sort of operating systems. So the payload inside the link would be JavaScript, and the browser executes JavaScript as commands, but he displays HTML. He takes HTML and displays it, okay? So once the script is executed, of course, the script would be like, okay, if the victim clicked on the link, I want you to steal their cookie session, okay? Now, we have talked about cookies before, maybe. I believe we have talked about cookies before. Let me show you some cookies in here. Okay, so I have this cookie. Okay, so this is called a cookie editor. Of course, you guys familiar with cookies. They're basically where they help you to log in into websites in a better way. Okay, like for instance, if I logged into Instagram.com, okay, had you ever wondered in your life that if you got back into your phone after 5 minutes, like you scrolled on Reels and then like, okay, yeah, man, I gotta log in, and then like, okay, 5 minutes later, oh man, I can't log in, and you just open up Instagram, okay, and it actually gets you back to the Reels. It actually gets you back to the account without asking you for the username and a password. Now, what's going on behind the scenes is that Instagram sometimes it does ask you to save credentials, right? This is similar. Okay, cookies are basically much more a secure way of storing your information or storing your session. Okay, we call this a session. If you ever heard the word session before, and it means basically that I don't need to log in again. I don't need to use a username and a password. I don't need to type them over and over. They're actually stored on my phone. They're actually stored on my computer as a file. Okay, and if I had Windows, I would have shown you this right now. But I have Linux. I use Linux, so it's really difficult to show you the cookies. But they're actually files that are stored in your computer, and these files contain the data that. Okay, so another question. So when a website asks us to accept cookies, should we always? Yeah, actually, these cookies usually are used using. So sometimes developers are too lazy to develop websites. Okay, so let me show you this. I hope this is here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Do you see this code right here? Do you see this code right here? Okay. This code is not a part of this website. So when I hosted this code, I did not actually wrote this code. Okay. Uh, I actually got this code off somewhere else. And if we actually click on it, this is somebody's else work. Of course, I did not write all this. I don't have time for this. This is somebody's else work. And they could be, for instance, asking for a cookie. They could be asking for a session to also have them, okay? So if they ask you to accept cookies, it's totally fine. Accept cookies, it's not dangerous. It just ensures that you're using the website in the right way. I'm thinking, I want to give you an example in here. I'm thinking of, okay, let me just find a way. I'm trying to brainstorm in here. Because I'm trying to give you an example of which, um, hmm, okay, there's nothing here they could use. Okay, when you go back and like, okay, let me go to the website here. Let me go and just go to the left. When when you go to a website, right, and you just try to visit the website and you click in the field and you see these things right here. Yeah, these are cookies. Now you're asking yourself, wait, what does this mean? Okay, when the website asks you to accept cookies, okay, that means they're making your experience better so that when you go back into the website, it will tell you, it won't, require you to type in maybe the long email over again. It will just show up in here, okay? It will be stored in the browser and it will show you, oh yeah, man, this is nice. I don't need to type in the email again. I could just click on these options and my life just got better, okay? This is how cookies works. Now, cookies are not just about fields. It could be about searching history. It could be about fields. It could be about passwords. It could be about many, many things that I don't need to mention now. But for this, for the sake, accept cookies. They just make your experience better. Okay. If somebody told you cookies track your computer, just clean cookies right after. Okay. They're not really tracking you. They're not really destroying anything. They're not breaking your privacy. It's just some schizophrenic stuff people say just to scare you out. Cookies are pretty normal. They don't track you. They're not executed on your machine. Okay. Because let's be real here. If they want to actually track you, they would have tracked you while you're using a VPN, while you're using a Tor network. They would track you without a phone. Okay, so let's be honest here. People say that, oh yeah, government is tracking you, companies are spying on you. It's just nonsense. Okay, don't listen. They just accept cookies. It's fine. Life is great. Nobody's spying on you. Okay, just apply the practices that you have been told. Just have a strong password. Just do some always updates. That's use an antivirus. That's it. Nothing is really. You can't do anything more than that. So don't really try. Just accept the cookies. Sorry for the long answer, but I wanted to give you a wider overview of what cookies are for the question. I just like to explain it in a wider way. Okay. Where were we? Okay, cool. Is it clear, or did I say too much? Okay, cool.
It's clear.
Okay, you're welcome. So we were doing XSS. Okay. Now, before I get into XSS, I actually messed up part. I just realized I messed up part actually. Let's go back to Burp Suite, okay, guys? Let's go back to Burp Suite. And let's go to the browser and go to the main tab, okay? Just go to the website. Okay, just go to the labs, the browser of Burp Suite, okay? And I want you to click on SQL injection and then go to login. Just the first one, the one that we were in, okay? Cool. So I want us to inspect the payload that we did before, okay? Now, I forgot actually to use Burp Suite. We have used just the login form using a payload that I've already prepared, but it doesn't really matter. But I just want you to understand this, what's going on behind the scenes, okay? So I want you to focus with me on this one, okay? Because this is sort of sensitive here, okay? Just type in admin and then type in 123, okay? Before you click login, I want you to go to the proxy tab that we already opened, and I want you to click on the left button at the top and click intercept on. Okay, what is happening actually here? What is happening is that you're intercepting the traffic. So before you're saying, hey man, stop. I don't want you to go to the server. First, I want to inspect you. I want to see how can I edit you, and then I could send you to the server. Because inside the browser, there are some headers, there are some parameters that you cannot edit with the GUI, right? So you want, you know, the front end. Like for example, I want to send an extra parameter. I want to send some code, other code to the website, but they're not giving me any fields here. So I want to edit that, you know, using the requests in the website, in the Burp Suite, okay? So we're gonna use the Burp Suite for the first time here. It's gonna be really fun. So once you click intercept is on, you're gonna go back to the browser and click system login, okay? Now you will notice something, that this request is not going to be sent and the browser is gonna keep loading. What does this mean? This means that if you go to Burp Suite, okay, if you go to Burp Suite, you will see the request that you have sent, okay? If anybody, it works for you well, or? Is it clear? Okay. So if you look at the bottom, you will see the username and the password you typed, okay? This is really fun. Why? Because you could edit this. You could change this however you want it. You could see everything you sent visually, everything you sent to the server, literally everything, okay? So if you just get closer here, you cannot maximize the text here, but if you look closer here, you could see post and then the directory that you're posting to. As we said earlier, post, this method is used to send data, right? If the server is sending you something, it will be post. If you're sending something to the server, it will be post, okay? If you're requesting a website, a web page, or a web page is basically a document. So you're like calling it to, hey, I want this on my machine, okay? I want you to download it on my machine, okay? So you're sending, actually here, this is not get, this is post, so you're sending data to the server, okay? So let's try to apply this with the payload we had. Let's go and copy the payload, okay? I hope this works. Wait. Wait, I hope this works. So let's just put do you know these signs at the beginning? The what do we call it exactly? I don't remember. The quotes, yeah. You're gonna put quotes around the password, just a single quote, not a double quote, just a single quote around the username and the password, okay? But for the username, for the password, you're not gonna put the last one. I hope this works. I didn't try it before, but let's just forward that. You're gonna click at the top forward, and you're gonna wait for the request to be sent back to you. This is an error. Okay, so we have discovered there's an error. This is a good indicator that there's a SQL injection. Okay, this is an SQL injection. And if you could look here, it gives you actually some information about the server. It gives you some information about the database, MariaDB. Okay, now let me go back. Intercept is off. Let's try this again. Let me try this again, guys. Let me try it myself. Intercept on. I mean, applying the exploit on a browser or applying it on Burp Suite. Burp Suite gives you more integration, but we're going to see this in a moment now. But we have this interception is on. Let me just go ahead and do the get the payload. Where's the payload here? Yep. Okay. No, this is not right. Is this right? No, it's not. Forward, and if you go to the browser, it still tells me up the mistake. Maybe Burp Suite doesn't work with sort of the text. Sometimes we use SQL map, something called SQL map. Let me show you what SQL map is. So basically, we work with a tool called SQL map where it dumps database, but Burp Suite is not really effective as using SQL injection. But I just wanted to exclusively limit you guys to Burp Suite here because it's a very, very good tool. It's a very good introduction to how to work with web security. Okay. But I don't know, for some reason, we already actually exploited that, right? We already exploited that, but it's not, for some reason, not working for Burp Suite. It's totally fine, okay? Just go back to the main tab of the website or the labs so that we could go back to the, proceed to the next one. We're going to be late, so we're going to hurry up. Okay, so where were we? To the XSS, yeah, cool. So let's go back to the tab and explain about XSS. So we have finished, okay? Now, I want to do this. Okay, we're going to, before we get into XSS, we're going to fix the SQL injection. Okay, so I'm going to take this code right here, and I'm going to go to the server. Okay, wait, let me remember the path. I don't remember the path. SQL injection login source code. You don't need to do this, guys. I'm just, as a developer, you could just go to the terminal. Okay, now I am inside the server that is hosting. As I told you before, the server could host the database, it could host the front end, the back end, everything. Or some companies do separate that. Some companies put the database alone in a server because the company is really massive. So we need its own computer, back end and a front end. Each one has its own server. So we're gonna cat this guy in here. Sorry. Oh, I think. Wait. There's something weird going on. Let me just try to edit this. Ooh. LS lab, okay. LS SQL injection. What else we got? Did we do the post login? Yeah, here it is. I believe this is the one. So when you're doing, when you're developing a website, this is how the hosting looks like. You could use some graphical tools that you could drag and drop, but these are command line tools. I actually personally prefer these tools. Okay, so as we see in the source code, as we saw in the source code earlier, this is the code that we talked about. So I'm going to just, okay. Let me fix it. This is lagging a lot because hosting is really slow. Okay. I'll just remove this statement because it's not secure. And I will go back to my notes and I will take the secure statement and I will paste it. Wait, no. I'll just remove it. I hope this works. Really, things break at demos, Okay. I hope this works. Let me try to just, sometimes things break because of the lining. I'm a space guy, not a tab, so. Bismillah. Let's go back to Brave, no, sorry, to the browser where we're exploiting. And let's type in the admin. Oh, first, did we save? Yes, we did save, okay. Let's just refresh the page so that I make sure the updates is fixed. That's weird. It's not applied. I did actually apply this right now. I don't know what's wrong with this, but maybe this is showing off somewhere else. Okay, admin, and then we're gonna attempt with the payload. I know this is sort of boring, but believe me, once you actually master this and you have an idea of what's going on, it's gonna be really interactive. Let's try to log in. Oh, it didn't work. Okay, cool. It actually worked before. It just worked before the workshop. Okay, it's fine. So, I'm not, this is also another idea where you don't need to know this in PHP, okay? You may program this in Python, in Flask, you could program this in JS, the backend. So it's up to you. So I want you to know the idea that you must learn how to sanitize the input, okay? You must learn how to clear the input and make it, check for the input of the user, okay? Once you learn programming, you could look up how to sanitize the input, okay? So this is the first and best practice. So use prepared statements to prevent SQL injection, which is prepared statements. You don't allow characters to be in. You don't allow, you make sure that there is actually a literal taking for the statement and it's, sorted into characters. Hash passwords, instead of storing them in plain text. So this is a function also where you could also, inside this parameter, you could put the function of the password. So when you send that to the server, the database should hash the passwords, because sometimes people could hack passwords and they could see, let me show you something. It's really, RockU. So RockU is a company that, that was leaked back in 2012, I believe. And it was leaked by 12, I think 12 million passwords that was leaked. And if you go to GitHub, okay, and you visit RockU word list and you just download this, you will see it's actually really massive, okay? But if you go to Wikipedia, we don't have time for this. We're losing time now, but we should hurry up. So if you go down here, it's not showing you any passwords. Okay, common password list. It's actually 14 million passwords that was leaked because they were not checking for, input sanitization. Okay, so do you see these are main passwords that are used by users? Okay, these are the main ones. They leaked the password, and the problem is once they leaked the password, they discovered it was stored in plain text. So before you store the passwords, you must encrypt them using hashing methods. Okay, so let's just proceed to exercise. I think this is a massive overview of SQL injection. Okay, we have took like general idea. Okay, anybody have any problems with understanding? Okay. Okay, cool. So for XSS, we have said that we send a message, it executes on the browser, and then we get some information. Okay. So for the cross-site scripting, let's go to the labs. Let's go to the browser of Burp, and click on the browser here. We know on the basic reflected, we're gonna take the basic reflected. Okay. So if we click on source code, and then now let me explain to you XSS. XSS basically is a vulnerability that is not just exploited by the hacker. It would requires users. Okay, so as we said in the diagram here, we said that we require victims so that we could send information to them. So I cannot just directly hack the browser to, send information to the browser. No, I would need somebody so that I could hack them, right? So this vulnerability is not effective always, and it's, if you find it and you ask people to pay you for it in bug bounty programs, maybe they won't. They will just call it as a they will call it something as instead of a vulnerability, they will call it as a misconfiguration or something like that. So they would consider it not dangerous because you cannot directly access the affect the user unless they actually interact with you. So the dangerous piece of code here is that if we go to the website back here, it's telling us, it's right here. Let me just look it up. If we look it up here, we could see that the dangerous piece of code right here. Okay. So it says here the application does not sanitize user input. This is also another way. And because as you see here on the labs, we could see that there's an input here. We search something. Okay. So it doesn't sanitize the input. So if you go there, we could see that, let me just maximize that. So it says here, alert margin of whatever, so on. So it will take strings as it is and execute it on the browser. As you see here, this is taking the variable that you input into the field, and it will just send a GET request, okay, from the server to you. Okay, so this means it's like a post request. So this will execute directly. It will just say get directly without even checking. Okay, so how could we fix this problem? And this is the payload in here. Okay, this could be a payload that you could use. Okay, so let me show you. Let's go back to the lab. Let's search for cats. Okay, did not find anything. But if you looked up here, we could see a parameter and a payload. Okay, now I want to inject an XSS payload here. Okay, so I will say I'll take this payload in here, and I will input it. And once I visit, it will say XSS. Okay, I know this is not this much effective, but what this box that just popped is a JavaScript that executed on my browser. And this is dangerous because you see, guys, I could take this link and I execute JavaScript in your browser. Okay. Now, what I only have done here is that I have exposed, I've just printed the word XSS. But what I could also do is that I could inject, you know, I could, for instance, let me show you something. Let me show you something. It's document cookie XSS. XSS. So using this way, GitHub. Where's GitHub? I actually prefer GitHub for labs. Okay. Document.cookie. Here it is. Wait. Yeah, this one. Okay. So this just printed the word XSS. But what if I use the document cookie? Here we go. This shows just my session. So before I just printed the word XSS, but here I executed code on the browser and I got the session. Okay. Now you could tell me, hey, wait, no. I mean, this is just executing on my side. This is not sending to them. Well, the attackers could integrate something called a webhook. Okay. A webhook. Okay. Basically, let me show you here. Okay. We could use these websites. Okay. So we could use these websites inside the link. Okay, we could put some JavaScript. Now remember, if you learn JavaScript, you could put malicious code in here. Okay, so I could tell the JavaScript, hey, inside this link, I want you to send this data to this link, to this server or this receiver. Okay, it could be not just webhooks, it could be your own server, it could be your own website, but webhooks are really fast and, you know, they're reliable. And you could send this session, and once you take this session, okay, you could paste it in here and then go to cookie editor, and then you could just like add, and then you could say it's called PHP CSSID, and then, you know, you just go and add it here, and you just paste stuff in here, blah blah blah, whatever, and just like you click add, and then like you refresh the page and you get access to their account. Do you get the point, guys? Anybody, it's not clear for them, or? It's clear? Okay. Cool. Okay. So this is XSS. This is how XSS could be exploited, as we see. But I have just limited this to document cookie or XSS text, just text being printed. But if you give yourself the imagination and you learn about JavaScript, you could integrate this into like a long script inside the link that you could send to the people, and they could just click on the link and it will send back the session cookie, or, you know, as we see document.cookie, as I said before, it's a file stored in your browser, right? It's stored in your computer. Okay, so we are taking document.cookie and sending it to my server. Okay, and I take it, and hey, I could log in. Okay, and to be honest, a lot of attackers, I've seen an analysis before, a lot of attackers does this with Netflix. If you have seen this, guys, before, there is a lot of accounts that, you know, they don't steal the password and the username. They actually steal the Netflix account using cookie session. Okay, so they take the cookie session, they go to cookie editor, and then they paste some information in here, and hey, we got access to the server. Okay, I'm not going to show this in this meeting so that we could stay ethical, but this is what, you know, some databases and like the dark web does. They sell it for money. Sometimes you could get it for free. You know, it's up to you, but it's 100% illegal. Don't do that. So this is another way of actually getting access to an account. Okay, so let's take a look at the solution of the fix in here. Okay, so the fix here is also sanitizing the input. Okay, so we're not going to apply this because it doesn't work. The last time it didn't work. Okay, those are also I will share these notes after the meeting. but also you could always escape user input before displaying it. So we are just like basically avoiding, as you see here, to restrict JavaScript execution. So we use content security policy. It's a protocol inside browsers that prevents user to execute JavaScript on someone's else browser, or your own browser, okay? And this is used by advanced companies. Okay, also sanitizing in both client and server, okay? So you apply this content security policy on the server and the client, okay? This is another practice. Okay, let's go to the next one, which is cross-site forgery, request forgery. Okay, this one is really interesting. Let me go back to the slides in here. Okay. This one is basically where you visit a website, okay? And you could see here, your ID in the link is equal to 200. But you could ask yourself, what if I change this ID inside the link to 102? Will this take me to another user, okay? So if servers are vulnerable to this, the server will request you the users, and this, you're not doing any exploitation in here, okay? Let me go back to the labs in here. Let's go back to the labs and go back to the main page in the labs. Okay. Where's that? I think I lost it. Yeah, here it is. IDOR. It's right. IDOR, right? No, it's cross-site. Okay. So I'm sure it's here. Yeah, here it is. Cross-site request forgery. Okay. Now, click on changing password, the first one. Okay. So we have a username and a password. Okay. So the username, user, and password, user. Click login. Okay, it will take you to a page. Okay, it will stay, but you can see here reset and login. Okay, so you're gonna click and reset. Wait, no. So you're gonna click on new password. You're gonna change the password. Let's type in password in new password and then confirm it with password, the same password. Let's confirm. Okay, cool. As you see here, this is dangerous. Why? Well, this is lagging a lot. No, thank you. Okay. I don't know where's the. Let me go back to this notes to just explain it better. Okay, as you see here, there's no validation in this code right here. There's no validation. So I could trick the login user to submit malicious request. I'm not sure how to explain this really, because there's no parameter in the link. That's weird. Money transfer. Let's see money transfer in here and see if I could do anything. Maybe it's in JS or like JSON. So like let's say pass confirm, and then go back to Burp Suite. That's weird. There's something wrong with that. I'm not sure if okay, let's just enter set off new password. There's something weird. It's not showing in the source code. Oh. I hate demos, man. It's just sometimes things lag. Okay, it's fine. It's totally fine. We don't need to focus on this one, but you just need to validate if users have their own session or their own cookie. Okay, so this one is not really popular, so you don't need to focus on. We talked about XSS and SQL. Focus about these two, especially SQL. Focus on this one, because this is why I focus on this and SQL the most, because this is the most spreading one. Okay, so let's go to. We have no time, so we're gonna skip to file injection. I believe here's file injection. I have it right here somewhere. Okay, yeah, file injection. Okay, this one is really fun. Let's go back to the main page. Okay, let's go unrestricted file upload. Okay, let me explain to you what is unrestricted file upload. Okay, restrict. Let me get a diagram. Unrestricted file upload. Let's go to images. Okay. Okay, okay, let me explain this verbally. When you upload a file to a website, okay, let's go to the labs. You know, when you go upload a file to the website, like in the labs in here, if you click an unrestricted lab and you go here, it will tell you choose file, right? Now, some servers do not check what is the file extension. Now, you could ask yourself, well, what's the reason behind that? I don't need to check the file extension. How could he hack me with that way? Well, it's really simple. We know that, as I mentioned, when I mentioned before, that PHP and JavaScript is an executed languages, right? Especially PHP, and most of servers do execute PHP. And if I, as an attacker, knew that the server, and how could I knew that the server executes PHP? I could, for instance, go to the website, okay, let's say for here Teams, and I could use an extension like Waplizer, okay? I could see what technologies is it using exactly. I feel like if I go to the lab here, I could see that what technologies is it used. It's using Cloudflare for protection. It's using Apache as a server. This could be open up another world of exploitation for me, another ports. JavaScript libraries, I could use Swiper. Maybe if it could be vulnerable, I could exploit it. It's showing me at the top, at the bottom here, you could see PHP. So I know that the server is using PHP. The website I'm hosting is using PHP. So I could put the possibility that this website, I'm sure that the website executes PHP. So whenever I upload PHP to it, and then I request the file, it will execute commands on the server. That's very dangerous if you don't check for these servers, for the file type. Okay, let's apply this in a demo. Okay, so we have a file. Okay, it could be upload your image, it could be upload maybe your document. But no, we don't want to upload a document nor an image. We want to upload a PHP file in order for us to exploit the server. Okay, cool. Let's go back to the notes. So if we could look here at the code, this is basically from the source code, but look with me here. Move uploaded file, okay? So it's moving it to uploads, and this is another vulnerability. This is another dangerous thing. Hackers know that there is a folder inside my server called uploads. I can't expose this to anyone, okay? So this is also dangerous. So it's temporary file, okay? It's not just checking, it's just taking the name. It's literally just taking the name, okay, and the temporary name, but that is just while uploading that, okay? It's not checking for anything, okay? So what an attack could do, this is a PHP code, okay? As we said before, the get method inside PHP executes code. Did you remember that? If we said that earlier, when we said that earlier, I think in XSS. Yeah, here it is. So in XSS, we said that it directly executes code inside the server, okay? That's a get method, right? So that's storing in a variable, okay? This is not good, okay? So what we did, we use HTML special character, and that's an XSS. But in the file upload, PHP for file upload, we did the same thing, but we are using this method for our own use, okay? Okay, let me show you this. Guys, you don't need to go along with me in this. I will just show you this, okay? Because we have no time still, we just have 10 minutes. So we're just going to get through this vulnerability, and then we are going to do some QA and some career advice into how to get into web security. Okay, so I'm going to choose a file. Okay, let's say, okay, first thing, I will create a file. Okay, no, first let's go to create this on a terminal. Okay, let's say shell.php. Okay, and I will paste the code. Sorry, not this one. I will paste the code, which is the malicious code I will use, and you will notice that now. How does it work? Save. Okay, cool. I will go there. I will choose a file. In home. Shell.php. And right before I upload anything, okay, I will go to Burp Suite. Intercept is on. Upload. Okay, I think I don't need interception because I've already. So if you look here, you could see, okay, you could see the entire request, and you could see down here that there is the PHP code. That's the PHP code I put in the file. This is nice, right? Because this is not what I have wrote. This is inside the file. So the application takes what's inside the file. And as you see here, the content type, okay? So the content type, or like the content delivery type, the type of delivery, we need to check for the file format. We know that there is file formats, .png, .png, .jpg, .text. So we have different types of formats, and we need to specify, and for the server to check, hey, I don't want you to upload anything but PNG pictures, because attackers could upload that PHP file. Okay, so we have this PHP file right here uploaded to the server. Of course, we did not need any burp suite, by the way, in this, but I just wanted to show you the request that is sent. Okay, so forward. Okay, here we go. We have uploaded this into uploads shell.php. Okay, now we will execute code in the server. Okay, we will have execution on the server. Let's go to the terminal. Sorry, not the nodes. Okay, and I'll go to uploads and try and attempt to execute this. Hope this works. Hopefully the interception is on. Yeah. Here we go. As you see, if you have gone along with me, you just executed a code in your first server in your life. Okay, and if you know what the operating system of the server, you could execute the commands according to the operating system. Now this website is hosted on Linux, so I could type, for instance, who am I? www data. Okay, I want something else. What else could I write? Oh, this is interesting. I could write wait, just space and URL. Okay, I'll use this. And I will say I want something from etc. password. Here we go. It shows some. Wow, man. So as you see, we could execute. So we have uploaded this file, a PHP, and this PHP file have a function inside it that says, let me show you the function here. This function right here says, hey, I want you to execute anything using this parameter called CMD. I could change this. I could say potato. I could change this to potato, and then I type in potato. I want you to run this, okay? And this is using a system function. The system function, which means executing system commands, okay? And this is, yeah, pretty much this is the last exploitation technique I want to talk about. There's a lot of much more you could expand these attacks to, and there's much more attacks you could use. Okay, web security is really fun, and if you specialized in it, you will really find a good career actually. And it's a very amazing start if you're a cybersecurity student or a software engineering student who's willing to build secure web applications. So I think this is the first or last vulnerability. I hope this was a fun workshop. If anybody have questions about anything, or you have, if you don't have questions, I will start with the career advice and giving some resources. So everyone, please, if you had anything in your mind, just tell me in the chat. I would be more than glad to listen to you. You're welcome. This workshop was just a basic overview, because it's just like a drop of an ocean. That's why I was just rushing around. Maybe it seemed a little bit complex. I tried to simplify concept as much as I can. I tried to explain as much as I can. But it's basically just requests and methods, and you're just sending requests to servers, and it's just executing code on the server, trying to bypass stuff. That's all about the web hacking or web security generally. And there's much more fields in cybersecurity, actually, not just web security. It's network security. You could go to low-level security, hardware security, telecommunication security. Cybersecurity is so interesting, and it does have a really wide variety of choices you could specialize in. And I would recommend actually AI if you're gonna do masters after the colors. You could if you finish 4 years, you could do masters in AI and cybersecurity, like security AI. You could utilize AI agents, to protect companies. This is like the future if you want something for your career. But there's much more in cybersecurity for it. Everyone, you're welcome. Any questions? Any questions about the workshop? Any topics we talked about? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I think everyone is. Is everyone good with everything we did? Okay. That was a great chance, guys, to be with you today. And if you have any considerations, don't forget to add me on LinkedIn on Abdelrahman Tameem. And if you have any considerations or questions, talk to me on LinkedIn. Yeah, that's all I could give you today. Thank you so much.
Hello, excuse me.
Yes, sure, go ahead.
Uh, no doubts, but will we get the recording and the presentation copy or no?
Oh, sure, yeah. You want the presentation and the notes, right?
Yeah, yeah, we bought.
Yeah,
I want all.
yeah. I'll inshallah send the notes on the chat just 1 minute after we leave, okay?
Yeah, I have also sent you a connection request on LinkedIn, so it would be better if you send that because the chat is
Oh, yeah,
bought.
I'll accept all requests, inshallah, now. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Regarding the recording, the materials, and everything else, we will be posting it on our GitHub, our YouTube, and our LinkedIn. So we'll be sharing all the links with you.
Okay, ma'am, thank you.
I have a question. Is there a certificate from this meeting or something?
Yeah, for participation, yes. If you applied through the link we give you, yes, there is a certification. Inshallah, maybe you will receive. I believe Yumna will tell you about it. You will receive it in the email.
Yes, if you have RSVP'd through our platform, you will receive a certificate.
Through an email, I believe.
Yes, it will be sent to your email.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Okay.